NZXT Cam. Monitor your games while playing. To learn more about it, check out the description. Hey everyone, it is the Angry Honey Badger here, and it's time for Badgers picks for the week of June 14th. Let's see who's free this week and which 4 of those champions I recommend you try out. Free this week, it's going to be Garen, Kalista, Lissandra, Lulu, Lux, Nautilus, Syndra, Twitch, Vayne, and Volibear. For my first champion recommendation, going to give that one over to Lissandra. Big fan of her. She's actually seeing a lot more play too in competitive. Well, not a lot more, but she's seeing some more. She previously did too, but then they nerfed her a little bit ever since then, though, with mage changes and just some quality of life buffs. She's pretty much been in a good position. Her initiations and ability to get to the backline as a mage are pretty unique to her. Not a lot of other mages can really dive the backline, not something they typically do. She can do that because of the claw, and it's a good initiation strategy too. If you want to go back there and ult a squishy ADC who's carrying the game, kill them and then zone use yourself, or ult yourself if you can blow them up, you know, without necessarily using the tomb on them. Anyways, she's really good. The only thing you could say downside to her problems are late game damage is a little bit more questionable. A few reasons for this are she just scales not quite as amazing as a few others. Not that it's bad scaling, just not quite as great as a few others. And the other thing too is most of her abilities involve her having to go all in. So if you want to deal damage, you pretty much have to commit to a team fight. So that's just a few things to look out if you wanted to play her this week, but she's pretty awesome, so I'd say give her a shot. Second recommendation this week, going over to Twitch. Twitch is also seeing a bit more play. Really, he's seeing a lot more play over in other regions, although he's seen some in NA and EU. He's seeing more in China and in the LCK, but he's always seen a lot over there anyways. Twitch is in a much better spot ever since the changes to ADCs, and they also gave him some buffs a handful of patches ago. They did help him out, it made him better. Also, the nerfing of a few other ADCs helped him. He still has the capability of dealing quite a bit of damage in a team fight because of spray and pray, and yes, I'm going to keep calling it that, rat-a-tat-tat stupid. But it just, you need to be in almost a perfect position to utilize it. Not that that is impossible, it's just, you know, it can be difficult. So don't be afraid to use it in small engagements too, because it'll come off a cooldown in the meantime. And he still has definitely, you know, good damage in general when just fighting. So that's something to be aware of if you want to play Twitch. You can be sneaky and assassinate a lot of people too if you like to play kind of, let's say, a Vayne style where you can go solo people. Twitch can do that as well with his invisibility. So go ahead and try him out this week if you're looking for an AD to play. My third recommendation goes over to Nautilus. Nautilus is one of my favorites to recommend to people who are looking to play a tank that isn't necessarily that difficult to play. His auto attacks will stun people, which is really, really handy and pretty easy to accomplish. His hook has a pretty wide and forgiving hook radius on it, so that can be very impactful. You can also use your hook defensively against terrain to pull yourself away from people if you need to get away. Comes with a very good shield that does plenty of damage, which is another thing I think is very good. And the other thing I also like about Nautilus is the fact that he scales pretty well late into the game. Now, they did nerf him a little bit, but it's still quite good damage, to be honest. Tanks are slowly falling out of the meta, but I think he can still be impactful, and I still think he can be very, very good as a support or in the jungle if you want to play him there. Some easier roles and positions to maybe try out in first before trying to take him into a solo lane. But he is free this week, and you should try him out. As for my final recommendation, giving that over to Lux. Now, Lux, what happened to Lux? She got some positive buffs. Yes, that did happen. But since then, we haven't seen her too much. I think the big reason for all of that is quality of life changes really coming over to a handful of other mages. Also, she did get some tweaks then that some of them were positive and some of them were kind of negative positive. They had a little bit of both on them. But for the most part, I still think Lux is playable. The only problem with Lux is if you don't stay on par or ahead of the curve of where everybody else's power is, I feel like she really starts to feel like she falls off. But if you stay ahead of that or in front of that just a little bit, feel like her scaling is very good, and that's why she was a pick for a little while in the ELCS. If you could get any kind of gank early from a jungler to accelerate your lane, pick up a kill early, and maybe finish off your first item before someone else, you can roam pretty successfully with Lux because she can just ult from pretty decent range to help pick up kills, and it works out fairly well. In late game, like I said, if you're that little bit ahead, you can absolutely nuke out targets with a quick binding, lucidity, and all. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of damage she can actually do, and it's also amazing how much damage she can't do if she falls behind that curve. So if you're looking for a little risk reward, maybe something similar to LeBlanc and the whole, if you get ahead, you're good. If you fall behind, you're not going to have a fun time. Lux would be that champion to maybe try out. She's pretty fun. But those are the champions that are free this week. Those are the 4 I'm going to recommend. I will go over the others right now, too. Garen, I actually like Garen. think he's good. The changes they made to him were always good, that they've mostly done throughout the years. Currently, a good champion to play if you're new to the game. Pretty simplistic and pretty rewarding. Kindred, seeing some nerfs, falling off a little bit. Still impactful under good play, but there are some slightly better choices in the jungle now. Play at your own risk or try her out. I mean, still not bad, obviously. Lulu, always a good choice. All around great champion. Can be used in many different roles. Syndra, good. But be careful with her. She has only pretty much single target damage when she gets into a big fight with her ultimate, which means you run into issues where if you ult the wrong target, or you ult too soon, or you don't have enough damage to finish off other people, you feel a little bit worthless. Although your Q does impactful damage, it still can be greedy. Vayne, if you want to play Vayne as a tank shredder, that works well. She's seeing a little bit more rise to power due to items and the meta, although we will see where she goes in the future. And Volibear, if you want to have a Mundo ultimate as your passive, then you'd want to play him. Can be difficult to gank with depending on how lanes are set up and who you're up against if you're playing him in the jungle. Other than that, I don't think he fits too many other roles right now. You can play him in the solo lane, it can be decent, but he can be punished in certain ways too. So if you want to play him, he's free too. There's a box around any of these champions' portraits. You can click on it, it will take you to some type of video for that champion in which you can enjoy it to its full delight. I wish all of you the very best of luck this week on the fields of justice, and I'll see you next time.